All right, got a quick little thing to do here. Okay, so overall, um, the average price of tech is roughly in the same ballpark as it's been for the last 3 weeks or so. Since let's see, since the beginning of June, pretty precisely, we see a pretty marked price dip during that period. And yeah, prices are comparable to what we had at the beginning of January this year. So definitely not a bad time to go shopping, actually. We wouldn't necessarily think of June as a good time to buy for a computer or something like that, but currently it's actually not bad. So yesterday I recommended a few accessories. First one is this wireless desktop um, combo from Microsoft. So no big bells and whistles on this one. It's just a wireless keyboard and mouse set. So something that should be pretty convenient. Let's say if you're looking to set up a desk, let's say your laptop is feeling a little cramped or something like that. Well, something you can definitely do, especially if you've got pains in your hands or stuff like that, would be to prop up your laptop on a riser, and a little set of keyboard and mouse like this one could definitely help you out quite a bit. Otherwise, if you've got more demanding needs, uh, this mechanical gaming keyboard could be interesting. It's quite a bit cheaper than it usually is. Let's see, so usually we can find it in the neighborhood of $107, stuff like that. Right now it's $90. So not a bad deal, especially available from Amazon Newegg. And if you want to buy it locally instead, you can always go and grab it from Staples. It's going to cost you a little bit more, however. But yet, prices is holding compared to what it was yesterday, so that bit is good. Uh, and still in the optic, especially this monitor is especially interesting, let's say, for laptop users. It's not necessarily the best gaming monitor, although it will definitely do. I think it's. I don't think my current monitor is better than that. However, usually we're going to recommend a slightly different technology, usually for people working in media or going in games, that sort of stuff. So right now, this monitor I would recommend. It's a good option for everybody, but especially let's say if you need more space to work either on your desktop or your laptop and just set up a more ergonomic workstation for yourself. And yeah, it's been dropping in price on a pretty steady slope for the last month or so. It used to be 150 up to mid-May, and at this point in time, it's down to $121 and a few cents. And that one's available new in stores only, however, at Staples. On the smartphone front, this week, most of what I've picked is definitely not the most recent kind of thing. So let's say if you wanted to spare your wallet as much as possible to be able to do other things like, have the best vacation you could possibly have or something along those lines. It's my selection this week would work pretty well for that. So the most recent one from my picks from this week is this Galaxy A5, and it's currently cheaper than usual. It dropped in price quite a bit, even on Samsung's own website. So yeah, it's available right now around $375. You can get that in stores from Canada Computer or online from Samsung. Staples is also not a bad place to get it. It's really the same price. You could also get it delivered from Amazon, and there's plenty of other places where you can buy the A5. The A5 is Samsung's offer for people on a budget. That's usually the kind of Samsung handset you're going to get for free with a contract or something like that. But you can get it contract free for under $400, and it's definitely not the strongest out there. Doesn't have the latest bells and whistles, but it's not bad. If you will look at the kind of apps it can run and how well, as you can see, it's fine for entertainment. So watching your movies and all of that, you won't have any problem with that, and can run several games pretty well also. And if we want something with a better camera, but still don't want to spend too much money, the G5 is available for under $400 still. It's only from Newegg, however, so only for people among us that are comfortable shopping online. But still, definitely worth checking out. Especially if what you're looking for is a good camera to accompany you during your vacation. And then, yeah, it was well reviewed for that, and G5 had that weird modular design approach that didn't really take on, but every once in a while I managed to find some of the attachment, including one for that's built especially for people looking to take better pictures. And yeah, it's the you can get an extra handle and camera button for it for $100. That add-on even comes with how would I say, an additional battery that extends the battery life of your handset. So if you'd like something to take pictures during your vacation but don't want to carry an extra camera, that might actually not be a bad option. Otherwise, yeah, it's the last LG flagship that came with easily replaceable batteries. So if you're the kind of person that uh, sees replaceable batteries as something positive, and really with the recent fiasco from Apple and what they did in relationship to batteries, then yeah, I would. That's definitely a feature I consider pretty highly personally, and definitely considering how easy it is to swap your batteries in that one. I think you need to carry a screwdriver or something like that. But it's possible to carry more than one battery and swap them during the day or during a multiple day trip. Let's say if you can't rely on the the presence of a power outlet to recharge your gizmos, then that would be something pretty interesting in my opinion. And yeah, in terms of what it's able to handle, G5 is no slouch, so yeah, you can still do most things on it pretty well. Otherwise, if you prefer the Apple line of products but still don't want to spend too much money, the iPhone 6s Plus is still a very attractive option. Has a very good camera. The Plus model has optical image stabilization in it. Doesn't have a dual camera the way the G5 has, but you know, it's more recent trend. So if you prefer Apple stuff, and sometimes there's better software for it and stuff like that, so sometimes the Apple offers are definitely worth checking out. And it's been cheaper historically. I mean, at the beginning of June, we could get this phone for $380. It's back to its regular $600. So yeah, it's been better, but still not a bad pick for your to document your summer vacation adventures. And in terms of what it's able to run, it's still quite capable, especially for a smartphone this age. So if during your travel you're looking to maybe stay connected, but not necessarily by paying a mobile data plan or something like that. Maybe it's for your kids so they can play stuff, maybe do their Facebooking and all that stuff. You can then the tablets are definitely worth considering. And my current selection is composed of mostly, how would I say, there's specialist devices. And I'll explain a little bit more why it's that way. The Fire HD 8 would probably be my pick as a regular tablet these days. I have that tablet myself. I really wanted to check how good a $100 tablet could be. And before Amazon started selling their tablets in Canada, it was a little bit of a tricky proposition. Most of those $100 tablets maybe didn't have access to the Play Store, or would probably never get security updates and be super vulnerable, and you know, that sort of stuff. So that would make them a little hard to use, especially over time. The Fire HD 8 partially matches what I'm describing here, as it doesn't have access to the Play Store either. What it does have access to is the Amazon App Store, which is not bad. The main downside of being stuck on Amazon's ecosystem is that they don't have any of the Google branded apps in there. So for instance, for one of the thing I do the most commonly on a tablet is watch YouTube. And well, YouTube being a Google service, there is no official YouTube app for the Fire HD. I managed to get a third-party alternative that works fairly well, just not as well as the official app. So I cannot cast to a TV, for instance, or that sort of stuff. So definitely not as good as the official app there, but still not too bad on that front. So yeah, that's the reason why YouTube is only 1 star there. But Monument Valley 2 is available on the Amazon ecosystem, and you can definitely run it on a tablet as cheap as the Fire HD. I mean, you're not going to find a good iPad for $100, even used. So either if you need to just complement your smartphone, or just want access to a few apps, or just an extra screen to keep you entertained while you're doing something else, the Fire HD is pretty well suited to that. Otherwise, if your needs are a little bit more elaborate, one thing I like to recommend are Chromebooks, especially those convertible models. This one's from Acer, and yeah, I've got my current Chromebook has the same processor in it and roughly the same specs, and I'm very happy about it. And since this is usable both as a tablet or a Chromebook, you're looking at something that's very versatile. Yeah, for $330 from Amazon, it's not a bad deal. You can also find it at several other places. Tiger Direct is the closest in price. If you want it in stores, you're going to look at $370 from Best Buy. Maybe you could try to negotiate them to try to price match Amazon, but your best bet is probably to get it through Amazon still. And you can do quite a few things with it, considering that it's got both Chrome OS, so you've got full access to the web. You're not stuck with mobile apps to access your favorite websites. But when you want to use apps like, in this case, LibreOffice or Excel, PowerPoint, Word, and all of that, you could get them through the Play Store fairly easily. And same thing with Minecraft and your favorite apps. Like, you could get Netflix and Spotify very easily through the web, but if you prefer the app, well, the option is available as well. So a very versatile little device, and around $300. Sure, there's a few Windows laptops at that price, but they definitely would not have as good a battery life, or one of the biggest differences between the two is that a $300 Windows device is able to do a lot more, but it does all of it does is quite painful, really. You're going to wait a lot after a $300 Windows device, while for a Chromebook at that price point, it's not going to do as much, but what it does, it's going to do pretty well in a responsive manner and all of that. So in the end, it's a much more pleasant experience, while if you need the options, Windows is the way to go. It's just, yeah, there's going to be no love between you and your laptop at that price point, I can tell you that. And finally, the most specialized device in the tablet category is the Nintendo Switch. And really, if you want to play on the go, or even if your kids want to play on the go, that would be the way to go for me, especially with the little ones, because yeah, sure, it's very common for them to have access to iPads and all that kind of stuff, but mobile gaming is plagued with so many pitfalls, especially for the little ones. All those games are going to be pulling at your strings to try to convince you to spend money. And that's not something I'm comfortable recommending. I mean, it annoys me to no end. if we're talking about children and stuff like that, in some provinces it's illegal to advertise to kids. But apps definitely are not making exceptions right now, and yeah, it's not something I would subject my kids to lightly. So the Switch is a great way to have full-fledged games. You know, just an honest proposition. You buy the game and then you experience it fully, instead of being okay, you can get it for free or for cheap, but I'm going to put you in frustrating situation where I will offer you to make it better by spending a little bit of your money, you know? So Switch for gaming would be the way to go for me personally. And yeah, you're looking at a very competent gaming system. Sadly, it doesn't have access to any music playing or video playing capabilities right now. There's no camera on it, so you cannot, let's say, take pictures with it or anything like that. But we hear rumors that Netflix might be coming to the Switch, which is definitely a good thing, because I know personally, I remember my first experience of watching Netflix was on the Wii. So, yeah, about time that they unlocked that for the Switch, in my opinion. So, for laptops, if you're looking for something a little bit more full-featured, uh, got plenty of options this week. And yeah, at $450, that is a pretty interesting options. That 15-inch laptop is definitely not going to wow you in any department. It's not a very powerful device. It's not doesn't have the best battery autonomy. It's not the lightest. It's not the smallest. Um, it's not the best at anything, but it's powerful enough to do everyday tasks fairly easily. I wouldn't recommend it for let's say if you're a frequent traveler, or if you usually handle more than one document at once or anything like that. Wouldn't recommend it if you're a little impatient as well, because that one definitely will exert your patience when starting applications, but when it's up and running, it should be fine, really. So for simple needs, even working on stuff every once in a while, it's a perfectly valid option. You even have quite a few gaming options available in there. So Fortnite is easy to run, so is Minecraft. So if you want to play games, you're not going to be completely cut off, but you don't have the most options either. So if we invest a little bit more, so just a little bit under $900 here, we're getting something that's quite a bit more powerful. It also have a much better screen, although it's a smaller one. And you've got the versatility of using it as either a tablet or a laptop. So sometimes that's definitely worth checking out. My wife has something like that, and she's definitely very happy with it. Battery life is also quite good on this one. So if you want to have, if you're a frequent traveler, or even if you work on the go, that could be worth checking out. It doesn't have the biggest storage on it, but really 256 gigs is plenty for most people nowadays. Unless you're very compulsively collecting media online, or taking a lot of pictures, you're probably not going to suffer from a disk this size. And yeah, it's going to be easy to carry, and yeah, definitely a great travel companion there. And yeah, you can run quite a few apps on top of what the precedent option had available to it. Still not a gaming system per se, but we're unlocking several additional options in here. Um, Definitely can see that Photoshop and all the Creative Suite options are definitely better represented in this case. So it's a more capable device, especially if you need your laptop for work. The 13-inch laptop means that you don't have a number pad on it or anything like that. But personally, I would rather have a number pad that I can plug into it via USB that only costs $20 or so, and have that option available to me on occasions than carry it or, you know, spend batteries on it all the time. And if we spend even more, we have our first quote-unquote gaming laptop. And actually, it's a valid claim in this case. It's got a 1050 GeForce in it, which is definitely not bad. And it's quite capable. It doesn't have the fastest storage or anything like that, so don't expect to earn any bragging rights with this laptop. But it's versatile, and if you work with graphic applications like, let's say, Photoshop or Premiere or that sort of stuff, you're going to get a much better experience. Also, Fortnite, up to now, we only had a 1-star rating, which means that, yeah, it's minimal requirements set up by the developer. We're reaching a more comfortable degree here, so not quite a recommended specs, but it's definitely a valid option to explore. Still, if you're looking at a $900 budget and Fortnite is the first thing you have in mind, keep in mind that the Nintendo Switch now has Fortnite as well and only costs $400. So maybe you could buy a cheaper laptop with a Switch, and that would probably serve you better. Keep that in mind. So spending a little bit more on a gaming laptop, we're looking at, yeah, it's fairly similar hardware, but we have much better CPU. We've got much faster storage as well, so you're going to definitely wait less, have better performance, and with 16 gigs of RAM, you're going to be able to do multiple things at once much more easily with this than with the $900 offer that we just covered. So yeah, definitely worth looking into. Otherwise, it's a similar kind of setup, but if we look in what it's capable to handle, we can see a few differences in here. Thanks in great part to the added memory in there. What doesn't change compatibility is the faster hard drives, but yeah, it means that shorter load time. It's going to take much less, a lot less time also to boot up your laptop. So yeah, if those are worth the extra money, let me just check. So yeah, it's a $300 difference there. So if that's attractive to you, could be very well worth your time. So back to an 8 gig offer here, but now with a much more powerful graphic card in that one. We're down in price and all of that. It's roughly the same price, so I'm pretty sure. Yeah, let me check. Actually, price came down on this one. Yeah, so this one with 1050 would probably be my best pick for, let's say, Photoshop and stuff like that, especially if you work with high resolution documents and all of that. And for gaming, this one might be more interesting with a stronger graphics card, which you wouldn't benefit from it if you were to, let's say, use Photoshop. But Photoshop will definitely benefit from the 16 gigs of RAM compared to this one. You're also going to wait a little longer for games and levels to load on this one, but shouldn't be terrible. It's a staple exclusive, and we're still looking at a 15-inch laptop. And yeah, it's pretty normal fare. Gaming laptops don't usually have the best battery life. They're not the smallest. They're relatively heavy. They need to deal with a lot of extra heat compared to what smaller laptops need to deal with. So you sacrifice portability quite a bit when you decide to play on a laptop. But if you can't dedicate any space at home to a gaming rig, and if you, let's say, you move on a regular basis, or maybe you spend days at the work camp before you have to come back, and you'd like to occupy your time over there with some PC gaming, that's definitely worth looking at. And it's capable to run quite a few things. So we've got 3-star on Fortnite now, which means that it's meeting the recommended specs. Same thing with Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege here. Yeah, a lot of popular games are available. We're starting to look at Ark and Planet Coaster as a possibility. You meet minimal requirements in this case. So yeah, the game should run fine at this point. It's basically what the developer said. Well, you should at least have this. It's just that if you play that sort of game and want to keep doing that in the future, then it's maybe investing a little bit more could help with future proofing. But for $1,300, definitely worth looking into, and still the same price it was yesterday. So definitely still an option for you. Otherwise, this XPS 13 laptop is yeah, that laptop is regularly recommended for anyone working on the go. 13-inch, it's starting to be pretty small, but you're looking at a very powerful laptop, well, for the size. And it's very easy to carry around, a very good battery life. So if you have to work away from your desk most of the time, that might be worth looking into. Same thing if you're a frequent traveler or stuff like that and need to remain productive while you're away. That's something worth looking at. And yeah, in terms of what it's able to run, well, we see definitely a decrease in portability, especially on the gaming front here. But this laptop is not built for gaming. It's built for portability and productivity on the go. So that's the main focus here. And for that, it's quite capable. Otherwise, if we look at stationary computers, then we get we can start very cheap. This here is a refurbished system, and you can get it for very cheap from Amazon right now. It's not something that's going to earn you any bragging rights for sure, but If money's tight, this is really hard to beat. What you get for the price is going to unlock many doors for you, especially for, you know, kids' homework and handling, you know, everyday tasks, going online, watching videos, that sort of stuff. It's going to be fine for that sort of thing. Sure, you have to buy a monitor, keyboard, and mouse for this one, I think. But you could save a little bit of money by hooking it up to the TV and maybe using a wireless keyboard and mouse, especially if you have to live in a small space or stuff like that. It's going to have many options over the typical smart TV. So yeah, if you're looking for something on a budget, definitely worth checking out. Otherwise, if you want something a little bit more recent, this desktop computer is pretty serious stuff for the price. So we're looking under $700. And already we have 1 star, so minimal requirements in Fortnite. So you're already unlocking many doors with this system. Performance are going to be pretty okay. It's not the strongest out there, but it's going to last you a long time for the price compared to a similarly priced laptop, and it's able to do quite a bit already. Otherwise, if you want something a little bit more capable, this here is presented as a gaming system, and it's kind of true. Definitely not something that's going to earn you bragging rights, but it's going to allow you to play quite a few games. And it's going to unlock a few doors. The one thing I don't like so much with this model is the 12 gigs of RAM, because that almost always means that your memory is mismatched in this case. So it's not going to run as fast as it could. You're going to have a few upgrade options available to you on this, but usually factory built systems are not they're not built with upgradability in mind necessarily. So RAM you can upgrade fairly easily. You might need a little bit of help to upgrade the graphics card in this one, however. I don't expect the power supply to be able to take much more than what is currently in there. Also, not the fastest drives. But for under $1,000, you can do a lot. You reach recommended specs for Fortnite. So if you're big into Fortnite, then by all means, it's going to be great on that. Minecraft 5 stars means that you're going to be able to run pretty demanding mods and stuff like that on top of the basic game. You're going to be able to push your gaming experience quite a bit further with a system like this that reach 5 stars of compatibility instead of, you know, 3, which is recommended. You also have many options available to you for creativity. So Premiere, you've got quite a bit of options there. Maybe not the best system if you you know, if you're working on video projects all the time. But it's going to be fine for occasional projects, or maybe if you do one video a month or something like that. So definitely worth a look for either gaming or, you know, the creative. So a little bit more of an investment there. And it's available online and in stores at Best Buy still. Price even dropped from the point it was at yesterday. So we're looking at what was the gold standard CPU from last year. It's been beat since, but still a very attractive CPU in this one, and a GeForce 1060 is no joking matter. You've got 16 gigs of memory, you've got this solid state drive in this one, so by all means it ticks many of my personal checkbox for a gaming system. You're not going to wait long for your games to load, and you're going to have pretty good performance in there. You could consider quite a few VR games, even if it's among your projects, although it's probably not among the typical specs for VR experience yet. But by all means, you're pretty golden for most games on this one. Only the most demanding games don't have at least 3 stars. So yeah, you might want a better graphics card even than that for that. Yeah, Premiere, it's going to be fine. If you're a pro, you will want something better than that. Planet Coaster has very high specs, very high requirements, so it's only 2 stars on this one, but you can definitely play it. And let's see, another that's tough to run, usually Ark Survival Evolved, is definitely known to be hard to run, but you get 4 stars on this one, so you're exceeding recommended levels. So let me just check the price again. $1,300. Great value for the price, no question there. But if you need even more than that, we can upgrade to a 1070 GeForce in there. And everything else is very similar from the previous one, and in this case you're going to be shopping over at Staples instead of Best Buy. And the price is holding from what I saw yesterday. So yeah, those systems seems to be pretty well built from ASUS, and yeah, I've had pretty good experience with that manufacturer so far, even though I usually buy piecemeal from them rather than complete system, but usually they're pretty legit. You're looking at similar performance for Maya and Premiere, simply because those two programs would benefit from, let's say, a professional video card like Quattro or something like that. But even then, the 1070 works great to shorten your render time in Premiere, or even allow you to preview your work in real time. So unless you have very elaborate scenes, or if you work maybe above 4K, or maybe everything you do is 4K and it's very elaborate, then you might want to invest more than that. Otherwise, this is going to be doing most of what people would like to do from home. If you want to even run VR games and stuff like that, this is not a bad starting point, and it's going to be able to serve you for quite a few years without modification. And considering how well those are built, you're going to have several upgrade options in the future, which is something I recommend to be a bare minimum, especially for high-end gaming PCs. So in this case, yeah, you're going to be able to do quite a few upgrades, maybe not as much as if you were to get something built from a reputable builder, but it's going to come very close. And let's check at the price tag. It's $1,800. Yeah, a lot of value for the price, especially if you're looking for something you can just yeah, because you can just go in store and grab this one. You could be playing on this tonight. If you were to get something custom built, it's worth the wait for sure. But yeah, if you want to have your upgrade quick, this you can be playing on right now. So definitely worth a look. And yeah, this is going to serve you well for many years, I'm sure. And those were my recommendations this week. So I'll be doing this every Saturday from now on. Still have to figure out exactly what time of the day it's going to happen. I had a few things to figure out before I started streaming this. But to stay tuned, keep hearing about me and what I'm doing, and have access to future versions of Tech Worth Buying, you can follow me on social media. I'm Tech Advisor in most places. I had to be Tech Advisor Canada on YouTube because YouTube thought that Tech Advisor was too generic. Or you could even get Tech Worth Buying delivered to your inbox around noon Mountain Time every Friday by subscribing to the newsletter by going to the URL below. And yeah, that will give you access to the list before I even manage to build the videos around it. So that gives you access to what are the best deal available for there before you can even head out to go shopping usually. So if you're currently looking for something, or if you know someone who's looking for a smart device or stuff like that, subscribing could be something you want to do. Obviously, if you would be so kind as to follow me on Twitch or any of the social media above, that would be profoundly appreciated. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.